Hello, and welcome back to Idea Sex, where we take an analytical lens to mysticism, spirituality, the esoteric, and phenomena not previously understood. My name is Kiara, the Mad Witch. And no, it's not broken. I think it's just strained. I hope it's not torn. Long story made short, I feel like I owe you an explanation if I'm going to sit here with a little dinosaur arm, little T-Rex arm. I was at jujitsu, and I'm a really petite person, but I powerlift, so I'm like deceivingly strong. And not everyone, when I roll with my fellow white belts, not everyone can break my guard. And some people find this frustrating, I think, especially given my size. And so this one girl, when she realized she probably wasn't going to get past my legs, started to attack my arms, which was fine. Except for the fact that I don't know if she was going for a submission and missed, or if she went for a submission and didn't know what she was trying to do, or if she was just angry, but she like gripped it and ripped it. And I was like, ow. But this is just what happens when you're a white belt. I feel like we're a pit full of baby vipers, you know, where like the baby snakes are more deadly than the adult snakes because they don't know how to regulate their venom.
I'm a snake.
They're more deadly because they don't know what the hell they're doing. So this has been my experience so far. Needless to say, that is why I sit here today with a little T-Rex arm. Back to the topic at hand. Today we are continuing the conversation around mediumship and life after death. So in the last video, I shared some of my personal experiences of hanging out with ghosts, which I didn't believe in, for the record. I did not believe in ghosts until this year, which, in case you missed that, you don't want to miss the mustache.
Flashback.
The financial system is built on debt.
So if you are interested in the anecdotal side of it, I will link some of my personal ghost stories in the description box, but this video should stand just fine on its own because today we are looking at some of the formal research studies, the formal scientific studies done in laboratories around mediumship, aka the ability to communicate with spirits. Spirits as in dead people, and we're actually going to be looking at a set of two sister studies from the Institute of Noetic Sciences. And as with all psi phenomena, okay, there is a ton of research out there on this stuff, but I'm just one layman screaming this stuff from the mountaintops and the rooftops and the laptops. And so I kind of have to pick and choose what we cover here. There's only so much I can cover. So today, I have picked this set of studies because one of them actually gained traction in the mainstream.
We rise up from the dust and clean my throat.
Dozens of mediums and non-mediums, rigorous scientific experimentation, and one man, Dr. Dr. Delorme. We'll cover two of his studies today. One of which is in the top % of studies viewed all time on ResearchGate, which, if you don't know what that means, the correct response is to feel very, very impressed. Experiment 1. The IONS scientists, led by Dr. Delorme, curate a collection of 180 photographs of dead people. Let me rephrase that. They curate a collection of 180 photographs of people who were dead when the experiment was done, but the photographs were taken when they were alive. Just to clarify, all of these people had died of either a heart attack, a gunshot, or a car accident. No thank you, no thank you, no thank you. And the task of participants was to guess how each of these people had died. So they were shown an image, all 180, but they were shown these images of these people who had passed, and they were asked to guess in what way had they died from those three options. And it's also worth noting that AI was applied to the collection of photographs prior to their use in the experiment. So this was used to see if the AI could pick up on any like telltale commonalities between photographs. For example, maybe they would have scrapped a subset of like older, heavier white males because the computer would look at that and with some degree of accuracy be like, I smell a heart attack. So Suffice to say, nothing in these photos would indicate how these people died. Now, the trial participants, this is where things get interesting. So one group of mediums, people who professionally talk to dead people, and the second group was a group of non-mediums, or people who claim to never talk to dead people. So most of us. Who do you think did better? Wrong. It was the non-mediums. That group was able to guess the cause of death at a statistically significant rate and significantly better than the mediums, the people who did this professionally. And there's a lot of reasons why this could have been. This was, it's just one study, so it's something that would have to be replicated. But one idea that they play with in the paper is that these people the mediums may have had performance anxiety, right? Because all of them had higher heart rates during the experiment, and whereas the non-mediums were going with their first quick instinct, mediums often have a process where they're trying to connect to a spirit, and this could slow them down. They only had 30 seconds or something to decide on the cause of death. Some mediums also, when they were interviewed after the study, some also claimed to have the way that they do mediumship is they experience the physical sensations in their body. So they might have an intense crushing sensation in their chest, but is that a gunshot? Is it a steering wheel ramming into someone's chest, or is it a heart attack? It could be any. Needless to say, this study is interesting, but not particularly compelling, unless, with a lot of psi results, you understand statistics. Not me, I'm an idiot. Next study. Experiment 2. Electrocortical activity associated with subjective communication with the deceased. They make it sound so smart. The electrocortical activity associated with subjective communication with the deceased. Translation: what your brain looks like when you believe you are communicating with dead people. That's what it means. This study is apparently one of the most viewed of all time on ResearchGate, and I personally find it more compelling than the last study because it is investigating evidential mediumship. And evidential mediumship is where a medium is able to ascertain certain facts about a deceased person when they have no way of knowing those facts, hence evidence for mediumship, evidential mediumship. And you do have to be careful if you ever want to go see a medium. They'll often claim to do evidential mediumship, but you have to remember that everything lives online these days. And so a number of these people, there's a lot of frauds out there, there's a lot of scams, and they'll just go ahead and find what they can about you online. So the less you have on there is better if you're going to go explore this stuff yourself. I'm losing my voice. So in this study, Dr. DeLorme takes 4 gifted mediums who had performed very well in previous double-blind studies in which they reported accurate information about deceased people. And they do something similar in this experiment where the mediums are each given the first name and only the first name of a deceased person. And they're asked to wait for a period of time in order to connect with this person. And during this period, an EEG hooked up to their brain is recording not their brain. It's, how EEGs work. They're like the sticky things that go on their head and they read electrical activity from your brain. So the EEG hooks up to them and it's recording what's going on in their brains. Then the mediums are given 25 questions about this deceased person, their deceased person in question. And their answers are given to the people who were close to those respective dead persons. And then the loved ones grade the medium's answers about the deceased person, and 3 of the 4 scored significantly above chance. Also interesting to note is what the EEG revealed. So the way their brains appeared when they are trying to connect to the other side, it looks very different than when what someone's brain does when they are thinking about a living person, listening to a biography, or thinking about an imaginary person. Why does that matter? Because it would appear to indicate that mediumship is a distinctly different mental state than ordinary thinking or imagination. But to be honest, I had read these studies before all of my personal weird experiences with ghosts and things, and I was still very skeptical. In the sense that I was open to the possibility, but I definitely wasn't a complete believer. And I really do think it takes the direct experience of these things to have more certainty. And honestly, in spite of everything, I still don't know for sure. I would say I'm 80% certain, but I don't know what it would take for me to come out and be like 100% yes, all of this stuff is real. I think it's important when you are looking into the paranormal stuff, the parapsychological stuff, the psychic stuff, to be open, but also not to be like gullible or naive. I think it's important to like apply your critical thinking and making sure you're not just fooling yourself. You know what I'm saying? But studies like this make me, in combination with my personal experiences, anecdotes that I've read, just all that good stuff, I tend to think that this is probably real. Probably. But doesn't matter what I believe. What do you believe? Do you believe it's possible to communicate with spirits? Why or why not? Let me know in the comments. And in any case, thank you for having idea sex with me today. Hail to the, I'm going to do one hand. Hail to the power in the sights. And until next time, I hope you stay very, very blessed.